Liz Truss is officially Britain's 56th Prime Minister. She has met Queen Elizabeth at Balmoral Castle in Scotland, where the 96-year-old monarch asked her to form a government. Ms Truss takes the reins from former leader Boris Johnson, who earlier tendered his resignation to the Queen. Mr Johnson expressed his support for his successor in a farewell speech he delivered as he left 10 Downing Street. He highlighted the many achievements under his watch, including his government's management of Brexit as well as the COVID-19 pandemic.
Together, we have laid foundations that will stand the test of time, whether by taking back control of our laws or putting in vital new infrastructure. Great, solid masonry on which we will continue to build together, paving the path of prosperity now and for future generations. And I will be supporting Liz Truss and the new government every step of the way.
Ms Truss travelled separately to Balmoral to meet the Queen. She will address the country when she returns to Downing Street and appoint a cabinet of loyalist MPs. She takes over as Prime Minister following her victory yesterday in a poll of Conservative Party members. She came out ahead of former Chancellor of the Exchequer, Rishi Sunak. Ollie Barrett joins us now from London. Ollie, she's going back to form her government. Any word on who might be in her cabinet?
We have a pretty good sense of some of the top appointments that we think Liz Truss is going to make. Clearly, she's known for a little while that she was very likely to win in the announcement of that result on Monday by the Conservative Party, and therefore she's been able to have some discreet conversations behind the scenes. So we expect, for example, James Cleverly to be the new Foreign Secretary. We expect Kwasi Kwarteng, the current Business Secretary, to be incoming as the new Chancellor of the Exchequer. We expect that Suella Braverman may well be the Home Secretary in her administration. So some of the top posts are pretty clear. And then there's also great attention on the overall makeup of the cabinet. It appears that Liz Truss is minded at this point to mostly stick with loyalists and allies and supporters for cabinet posts. The upside of that is that she knows she can depend on those people. She can trust those people. The downside of that is that some of those critics in the Conservative Party of Liz Truss, people who were allies, for example, of Rishi Sunak in the leadership contest, may well feel aggrieved or disgruntled that there aren't enough of people from those sections of the party in Liz Truss's cabinet, and that could store up difficulties when it comes to party unity for the months ahead. But we will know a lot of those details in the coming hours because Liz Truss has a cabinet meeting on Wednesday, and she really needs as many of those top posts filled as possible so that those people can sit round her cabinet table in Downing Street on Wednesday.
Ollie, the Conservative Party trailing Labour by nearly 10 points in the polls. Can Ms Truss turn it around ahead of a new election, whenever that election might be?
It's going to be very, very difficult for her, partly because of the huge challenges that she faces coming into this job. One is the cost of living crisis. There's a war in Ukraine on the European continent. Brexit is not fully signed, sealed and delivered yet, particularly when it comes to the Northern Ireland Protocol. The UK's health service is in a pretty difficult condition after the pandemic at the moment. So there is a lot that could go wrong. There is a lot that the public could blame her for if she can't make progress on some of those issues as well. The other side of that coin, of course, is that it gives her the opportunity, the cost of living crisis in particular, to show that she can grasp and deal with and grapple with major issues. If she is seen to respond well to that and other issues, then it may well be that she can recover some of that distance on the Labour Party in the polling. The next election is due by the end of 2024 or thereabouts. There's some speculation she could call a snap election earlier than that, but you'd think that Liz Truss is unlikely to do so while she's so far behind Labour in the polls. If she can turn that round, though, you never know.
Ollie, of course, the acute cost of living crisis means a lot of her focus will be on domestic policy. But as far as foreign policy is concerned, we've heard when she was campaigning that she would officially designate China as a national security threat for the UK. Liz Truss as candidate, Liz Truss as Prime Minister, do we expect much change between one person and the next?
Certainly, Liz Truss did speak pretty strongly during the campaign, particularly with regards to China and what her government's position might be with regards to relations with Beijing, particularly around concerns of human rights issues in Xinjiang province. Now, Liz Truss, we understand, was sometimes minded to be a little bit tougher on that particular issue than Boris Johnson wanted to be when he was Prime Minister. Well, now she's in charge, it may well be that that position can shift somewhat. I don't think it will shift radically, but there is the possibility of London taking a slightly stronger, tougher line on some of these issues, and therefore for potential falling outs between London and Beijing to intensify as well. There is also reports that she may bring in some figures into her cabinet that also feel that the line should be rather tougher when it comes to China, and so that may feed into her thinking as well. So I don't think we're expecting radical shifts, but we may well see significant changes in tone from a Truss administration compared to the outgoing Johnson administration.
Oh, thanks for that, Ollie. Ollie Barrett speaking to us there from London.